Peace. This is Jay Everyday, also known as Furious Styles. And this post is going to be a talk about Monique and Issa Rae. For those who don't know, I'm talking about Monique the comedian and some comments she had to say about Netflix and how black women are treated, and also about Issa Rae and the things she said concerning black women. Now, as a man, it's not my job to sit here and discuss what women should or shouldn't do, or should or shouldn't have. I don't think that's my job to do, nor am I going to try and do that. However, what I am going to talk about is what I call the hypocrisy of two viewpoints. Let me start off by saying this. I've already talked about the whole Monique situation, so I'm not about to rehash that. But I am going to talk about how Monique comments were treated and taken, as opposed to what Issa Rae said in her book, The Misunderstanding of an Awkward Girl, or The Confessions of an Awkward Black Girl, or whatever the book may be. So let me give you guys a little bit of background. Monique the comedian basically said that she was being underpaid by Netflix, and she wanted black people to boycott Netflix because she thought that women of color were underrepresented on Netflix. People called her Donkey of the Day. People said, "Oh, Monique, you don't know what you're talking about." It was just odd to me. A lot of people had a lot of greasy stuff to say about her. That's neither here nor there. Like I said, I'm not going to get all into the subject of what she should have been paid and whether or not she should boycott. But I noticed everybody had something to say. Okay, that's fine. You know, you put something out there for the public public's going to respond to it, and you just got to deal with it. Issa Rae. For most people who don't know, Issa Rae is I believe she graduated from Stanford. She made a web series, and she wrote a book, and she created this TV show called Insecure. And basically, Insecure is just a version of Girlfriends, or Sex in the City, or the HBO show Girls. It's a show about 4 black women and their relationships with men. And like I said, you've seen it with the show Girls, you've seen it with Sex in the City, and you've seen it with the show Girlfriends. So this is just a reincarnation. It's just a remix of something that's been out before. Okay. That being said, let me also start by qualifying, just putting a qualifier out there, that I do watch Insecure, and I thought it was a great show. Didn't agree with everything that was done on the show or and everything that was said, but overall I thought it was a fresh take on an old premise, put it that way. So I'm not going to sit up here and bash her TV show because I may have an issue with something she says. I think that's fake, and I think that's being a fraud also. However, let me start by saying this. I didn't read her whole book. Let me also start by saying that. However, I know somebody that has her book, but I did read the controversial part that she said about black women should think about dating Asian men because Asian men are just as intelligent and have as many advanced degrees as black women, so they should consider dating up. Now, I've heard a number of people on YouTube say, hey, you can date what you want, or yeah, this was satire. But Issa Rae took, about 2 pages to spell this all out. And I'm thinking, yeah, it only seems like it's a page and a half or 2 pages devoted to this topic, but she was very succinct with what she said. And what I mean by succinct was she put a couple of statistics out there. She quantified and compared Asian men to black men, whatever the case may be. But see, people get caught up in color and, oh, she said this about black men and this and this. I'm going to take color out the equation completely. I'm just going to talk about men and women. She basically said women should date men who have the same degree of advanced education. That's the point that I'm taking. So, you're saying that a woman shouldn't date a man if he doesn't have the same amount of education that she does. So let me see if I understand this. So if a woman has a master's degree in social work, she should only date a man that has a master's degree or higher. Social workers don't make a lot of money. Computer programmers make more money than social workers. Computer programmers make almost as much as lawyers now. You see what I'm getting at? By her saying that women should only date men with an education on par with theirs, I think is a bullshit narrative. There's nothing that strikes me as satire when it comes to that. And here's why. There are plenty of men out here who have their own business, who work for themselves, who make a lot more money than people realize. So I think it's a little bit of elitism, and I also think it's some of that feminist bullshit that would even cause her to say something like that. And I can speak for it from a personal level because I actually had somebody that I was in a serious relationship with, and they were living somewhere, and I told them I actually considered moving to where they were because we were in a serious relationship, and I thought that, we were going to be together. We had this special thing. And she told me, no, we can't do that because you don't have a degree. And I will never ever forget this. And I don't think I've spoken to the person since she said that. Now, let me start off by saying this. I actually do have a degree now, and I'm in the middle of getting a master's degree. And, well, let me take that back. I'm not getting one master's degree. I'm getting two at the same time. But I'm not doing this because she said that. I'm doing this out of necessity. I need to make a certain amount of money, and in my field of profession, which is IT, I want to get to a certain point financially, and I need to have certain degrees in order to sell a certain service to companies. And not to get too technical or to get into it, but I'm getting a highly specialized IT degree. So companies out here pay very well for it. And I know this because I've talked to people. I belong to certain job sites that advertise for these jobs, and it's a significant amount of money. There's only about 20,000 people in the country that actually are qualified to do what I'm going to get a graduate degree in. So that's how lucrative this is. But this, that was just a point I wanted to make out there. So I'm not shitting on education. And that's a whole nother topic that I will delve into at another time. But the point that I wanted to make is owning your own business or being an entrepreneur that's the highest level you can get to, owning your own keys. You don't need a degree to have your own keys to your own building, to your own business. Just because I may have 3 advanced degrees and all of this, I'm no better, nor should I think that I'm better than the man that has his own barbershop, than the man who has his own auto shop. Because guess what? Somebody is going to always need a haircut. Somebody is always going to need their car fixed. You know a guy that does heating and air conditioning, works for himself. Every time he comes and see me, I have to give him $200. He looks like he's doing fine to me. Or how about my handyman? There is nothing in a house I don't think he can do, whether it's drywalling, whether it's plumbing, whether it's electricity, electrical work or wiring. He can do it. Works for himself. So when I hear someone say you should only date a man with an advanced degree, I like to see the rate of divorce for people with degrees. I'd like to see how many millionaires or people there are out here with money who never went to college. And see, what makes this so hypocritical on a lot of people's parts is everybody has something to say about Monique. Everybody. And when I say everybody, I'm talking about the whole mob within the framework and the bullshit that they be on. But that's not my point. Those people are going to do whatever the hell they're going to do. But this idea of choosing to be with somebody based on their level of education may be one of the dumbest things I ever heard. So when I hear her say that, or hear her say that black women should date Asian men, maybe she was joking. Maybe it was satire. I can't look in Issa Rae's mind and say that. But also I can say that choosing a man based on his level of education, it's a fucked up joke if it was a joke. And the same grief and gripe that you give Monique, you need to give that same energy to Issa Rae. And that's it. I'm not gonna go too deep and go all super, analytical on it. I just thought it was fucked up. And that's all I got to say about it. And I'm out.